Well, good evening, everybody. This is your host, Sergeant Friday. Cletus is currently on assignment investigating somebody that we know to have a very big head and small body. Cletus will be back Monday or, who knows, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, but he'll be back. Welcome, everybody. And going to have a different kind of a show. It's going to be politically based. If you don't like political based stuff, then, get the fuck out of here. Go sit down somewhere else. Matter of fact, go listen to Elevated Truth. He's got a stream going. He's cool. You can learn something. And actually, they're having fun in there, poking fun at him because he's showing his face. The truth will set you free. But yeah, so that's also an option. What's going on there, Shady? And let's see what do we got here. I wait for a few people to come in, only because I'm going to do something pretty interesting tonight. I'll actually show you part of what I'm going to do. Share screen. I'm going to go over this election map in real time and show people some things about the election map that they're probably not realizing are there. What up, Great Pearl? What up? And I'm not going to, let's see what I got going on here at X is what I want to know. If I got anybody in X yet. Because obviously X is definitely a big place. A lot of political people on X. And yeah, so let's see here. Well, for those that aren't here, which is partly okay, I am going to show you something that you stop sharing, that you may have seen, but many of you may not have seen. And I think this is important because it leads into what I'm going to show you on the electoral map that I think all the pollsters are missing. And I think they're missing it in a big way, a significant way. And I'll go over that when we get to the actual election map. But let me just show you a little clip here. I'll present this. This is a gentleman, Don Lemon, and he was a CNN host for a long time. Very anti-Trump, very anti-Republican, always accusing us of being racist and or homophobic and blase. You guys know Don Lemon. He is what I call a modern day house slave. He's one of the individuals that the Democratic Party uses to try to keep the field slave in bondage. He represents a sign of prosperity and maybe even hope that warriors can climb out of the drudgery. And in fact, he's just the opposite. He's working with the white billionaires to not just make sure the black community is subjugated, but anybody, including today, the middle class is subjugated to the point where we all become poor. We can all be equally fucking poor. And then the government can have what governments always have, control over the entire our entire existence. So being one of those guys, he decided to actually go out on his own because nobody will hire him back. I don't know what offense he created, but he did something. So these media people don't want him back. And he's out there now on his own. And I want to play a short clip of his existing experiences with everyday human beings, fellow citizens, people, me and you in all different shades, shapes, and sizes. That's what he's going to do. He's going to interact with me and you. And let's watch.
How are you feeling about the election?
I'm going for Trump. I feel like every time they don't want somebody who is good for us to win, they throw somebody black in our face thinking that's going to make us vote for the black person.
I voted for Obama because he was black. I don't want to vote for her because she's the first black woman to run for president or to win.
I don't vote.
Well, I want Donald Trump. I'm sorry. I want Donald Trump.
Why do you apologize?
Well, I know nobody likes him, but we had good times with Donald Trump.
I'm running for Trump, so.
You are?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, why?
Yeah. I don't know. I just always been a fan of his, so that's what I'm running for.
I used to be against Trump. I used to live in Virginia. I saw the bad side of it, but really moving to Cleveland, but I saw the other side of it.
I'm supporting Trump.
You are.
Mm-hmm.
Because
it has to change.
Yeah.
It has to change. And now I vote more for what fits me better as a person rather than voting for the black person or voting for the first woman. So
what do you think about Kamala Harris?
I think they say she phony and fake. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm like Trump saying,
How are you feeling about the election?
So I'm going to get rid of this screen. And I'm going to say to you folks, I want to sum up what you're seeing here. This is probably the most significant news that's not really being covered especially by the white talking heads, okay? Where they're all down arguing about different shit. But the most significant issue in this video that you can see, and this is the Democratic Party. Let's make no mistake. The black woman is the Democratic Party, not the black man. Okay? Black women are the ones that actually make the biggest impact in Democratic votes from the black community. There's more of them that are not only voters, but involved. And you saw to the person, okay? Every black woman that he approached randomly on that street just tell you they're going to vote for Donald J. Trump. This is not an isolated phenomenon. This has happened to him in several different cities in dark blue states. Chicago, okay? Inner cities of Pittsburgh. These folks are Democratic strongholds. That's what they're referred to in the political realm. And those strongholds have been called strongholds because since the Civil Rights Act of 1964, black Americans have resolutely, soundly, and convincingly, with no let-up, voted for the Democratic Party. And all of that is changing. The black Americans are they're not just starting, but now they're starting to act. They know that they've been being conned for quite some time. They've always been able to hold on to some kind of hope that their party will be the party that they were convinced was their party, that we're going to do the things that all of us need. Now, I know black people refer to themselves as black people, black schools. Nonetheless, there's other kids in those schools, man, with blacks. There's no such thing as a purely black school. We're all mixed together. Asians, whites, Spanish, blacks, Muslims, holy Christ, right? So let's get rid of the word black and just point out that what you heard those women say are those areas, and then areas that they live, which is Chicago and Pittsburgh. These people are fed up with the Democratic Party. They're fed up with the Democratic Party in ways that you and I have been fed up with the Democratic Party for the exact same fucking reasons, which shouldn't shock anybody. Okay, and the main reason that they're actually shocked is or they're actually turning this corner and are going to vote for Trump is because obviously they've experienced the presidential Trump administration. Obviously, okay, they're not these helpless people that don't know where to get ID, like they teach these people in these white liberal colleges, that black people don't vote because they don't know where to get a license or an ID, and therefore they can't vote. And because of that, that's discrimination. And then that means you should have no ID to vote. I mean, the most ridiculous argument of all that the Democrats throw towards black Americans is that they're ignorant and stupid. They don't say ignorant and stupid, but if you tell me that any particular human being that's of the adult age of 18 is unable to find the location to get a driver's permit, a state ID, or a driver's license, there's no way anybody in America is that fucking stupid. Yet that's what they're teaching these left wingers inside of the colleges. That's what they're saying. That's why we need no ID for voting, because it discriminates against the black or the poorest among us. And to be very honest with you, I don't know anybody in the modern era that hasn't had the capacity to get an ID since I've been alive. And I was born in the 60s. Okay. So that's just fucked up that the white Democrats do this and view and teach this view. And that all they do is talk about the past and what whites did and blacks did and what this guy did and what that guy did. It's all a bunch of fucking bullshit. I don't live in the past. I live for the future. I live for the present. I live for what can be, what's coming to me. And these Democrats have fucked up the economy. They spent all your money in the Ukraine. They spent all your money in the Green New Deal, forcing all your factories and all these emission things on us that have no bearing on anything. Taking all your money and enriching corporations that shouldn't even exist, right? Look at that big giant solar company that Obama put 900 million or billions into in California during his administration. The thing went bust and all our money is gone. This is what the Democratic Party represents. They represent their billionaires are okay. Any billionaire on our side is the enemy. But how convenient that the billionaires of the drug companies, the billionaires in the military industry, the billionaires in all of this bullshit all of these tech billionaires and these website billionaires, all of these, they're all good people. They're good people because they agree with the Democrats. And yet the billionaires on our side of the aisle, if there is a different side of the aisle, they're all billionaires. I mean, but again, they're going to tell you they're going to tax and destroy those people. In the meantime, what do they keep doing? They keep making sure those people can take more money out of your fucking pocket, right? And that you're going to continue to pay more taxes and take less money home. And poor Americans are starting to wake up. This isn't necessarily, I want to say that because it's not even poor. It's even middle class Americans, even more so. Poor and middle class Americans of all races are awake now. And I'm telling you what's going to happen. I'm going to go through this election map. I'm going to present this election map because I want to show you my prediction of what's going to happen now. And the title of the stream is there's an easier path to indict Kamala Harris than there is a path for her to get to the Oval Office. And for anybody that hesitates to think that, or for anybody that's going to suggest that that's inaccurate, they're really not paying attention to the electorate. And the electorate is you and me. And when you go to Democratic strongholds and you hear voters, okay, that without the black vote, let's be very clear, without the black vote, you can never have a Democratic president again. Black people know this. Maybe more people, white people should know this. Maybe they do. Maybe those of you that do know this have always held it against the blacks for voting Democrat. Maybe that's one of your points of contention. You're racist fuck. No. but again, so you can find division in these points of view. However, the reality today is that people from all walks of life, all religions, all backgrounds and creeds have experienced what they could have with Trump and then took the beating we've been taking from Kamala and Biden. And these people are not going to ignore it this time, not even remotely so. So I'll go to this map and I'm going to present to you what the pundits won't present to you because they will not present this map in the context that I'm going to present it to you. Let's see here. So is it showing through? What happened? Why is it? Is this actually projecting through to my screen? Doesn't look like it, does it? Present. Screen share. Here. Share it. All right, okay. This is an interactive map, folks. What this is what pollsters will use to predict elections. They'll also use this to follow the election. Okay. And in this map, if you've done any of this or seen any of this before, you can actually get one of these maps that posts results county by county in every single state. Okay. And I have access to those maps. So do you. And it was during the 2020 election that it was exactly this type of map that I watched county for county and why I came back immediately when they closed the 5 voting districts and all the Democratic strongholds, why I came out and immediately said that it was the Republican districts where the vote was stolen. Not to say that there weren't votes stolen in the Democratic district, but the Democratic district vote stealing operation couldn't produce a victory for Joe Biden. Therefore, part of the stealing had to come from Republican districts in the states that Trump lost, okay? Which were basically all the states you're seeing in tan right now on that screen. Those were the states that Trump lost. Those states all had voting, or the majority of them had voting issues, and they closed down at 12 or 1 o'clock. And that's when I showed the discrepancies, especially like when the results for Pennsylvania came in, the results in Texas. Now, even though Trump won Texas, believe it or not, he only won it by like a 5-point margin. That's just ridiculous. There's more Republicans in Texas. It's just ridiculous, patently ridiculous. No Republican has won it by that close of by that small of a margin and forever. Okay. So when I went through the counties in Texas, what I had found was that oil districts that all voted 98% for Trump in the Clinton campaign voted 81% for Trump and 19% for Biden. So Biden picked up 18% more vote tally in districts where Trump still won handily, but where the previous cycle of election showed Trump crushed it. That's why I said immediately that this election was being stolen through the Republican districts. And when you get into states that are close, it makes even more of an important matter. Now, it did cut down Trump's victory in Texas. He didn't lose Texas. But there's where the pattern begins, and you could follow that pattern through. Here's the other side to that pattern. If you go into heavily blue districts in the 2016 campaign and look at Trump's vote count, and then look at the same districts in the 2020 election, Trump got more from the heavily fortified strongholds of Democrats. He got more vote count against Biden than he did against Hillary. In 2 counties in Florida that are the bluest of blue, he ended up with 246,000 more votes in 2020 than he did in 2016 in deep dark blue areas in Florida. Okay. I'm only telling you this stuff to give you an understanding that I paid close attention to this stuff. So what I'm going to share with you now on this map is all based on the premise that's established based on what I can find by watching all the different interviews and all the different people that are available to me as a person, is, in a reason, obviously I haven't seen millions of them, but in a reasonable quantity and diversification that makes me see the map this way. And here's exactly how I see this election map. I see Nevada going to Donald Trump. Okay. And I see him going to that. I'm sorry. More than likely. I see him going safe. I also see him getting Arizona safely. Also, in Colorado, where they just took over those apartment complexes, I see that state at this point completely likely to go to Donald J. Trump. New Mexico, I say, is going to be tight, but he may not win New Mexico. We're going to move over to the swing state of Georgia. The swing state of Georgia will also be safe for Donald Trump, as will South Carolina, North Carolina, and I seriously believe that Virginia will lean Donald Trump. It'll lean Harris, but Trump may win Virginia. Trump will win safely, and when I say more than a couple of points, he'll win Pennsylvania, he'll win Michigan, and he'll win Wisconsin. And that will put Trump at 322 electoral votes versus Harris's 216. And I make this prediction simply because of the deep, dark blue areas. I'm going to say even in New York State, likely, Harris will not win that state by big double-digit points. Harris may be lucky to win New York by 10. Most Democrats win it over 30 points. In California, Harris is going to win that state, likely. Without a doubt, she'll win it, but she's not going to win it by the margins that Joe Biden or any other Democratic won it by. It's going to be cut down. And the reason it's going to be cut down, folks, in all of these states that they think are solidly hers is because of the inner cities, because of the minorities, and because of the working class poor in those communities, to include all of them, right? Every one of them, no matter what color they are. That's what you're going to have when you watch the election on that night. It will be uncheatable simply because they will not be able to sustain the loss in Democratic voters voting for Democrats. So if you take just simply the black community, folks, if you've been in politics or been around politics, you should know that if 26% of Democratic blacks stayed home, the Democratic people running for office would lose on a national level. Without that 26%, if 26% is tackled away in just that community, we're not talking about Asians, we're not talking about Hispanics, but just the black voters, 26% of them stay home, and Democrats can't win. I don't care if you put a horse up against a Democratic candidate. You lose 26% of the black vote, you're over. The entire party now is in serious, serious trouble. Okay? And let me just say that Rasmussen just did a poll, and their poll at this point, as I said this a week ago, is that 30% of black Americans are going to vote for Trump. And I'm telling you that poll, it's low. This is going to be a landslide. There's no way this can't be a landslide. Then you can't cheat yourself out of a landslide. And that's why I put up there what I said. It would be way easier to find this woman on an indictment, okay? Be much easier to find a path to indict Kamala Harris than there is a path to get Kamala Harris into that Oval Office. I don't care who she's got on her campaign team. I don't care how much money these people give her, how many ads she runs. I don't care how she performs in any single situation, be it a debate or an interview. None of that matters, folks. None of it matters. The only thing that matters is the economy, the illegal immigration, and sending all our money overseas with wars that are going on. Those three things are all that matters. And I would say specifically in that order. And all of those problems were created under the Biden-Harris ticket. Their administration of the office of the presidency created all of these problems. And that's why you're seeing massive shifts, especially in the Black community. They're easily understanding what the hell's going on around them. And they're done. They're completely done with the Democratic Party. You know you're in trouble. When you pick out random Black women on the street and they all say Trump, you listen, you should get an intimate fucking ability with your lips on your ass, because you're going to be kissing it from now until after that election. It's over. And it should be over even worse now with this Colorado incident. Okay? That problem in Colorado, where you got those Venezuelan gangs taking over two apartment buildings, that may take the whole Midwest with it. Okay? That may even take Nevada. You want to be honest. This situation might even switch a state like New Mexico. Okay? It may even switch. You got a Republican governor in Virginia. It may even switch the vote in Virginia. And if that happens, you got Trump with 340 fucking electoral votes to 198 for her. It's more than a wipeout. I mean, that's the worst MMA beating you could ever give somebody in politics. And I'm telling you to look towards this is the ending. This is the way this will go. And it's because many more Americans now are definitely paying attention. They're definitely suffering, whether you're making middle-class money, you're making upper middle-class money, or you're poor. You're all suffering from the same fucking problem. I bought a loaf of bread the other day. It was $2.99. That shit was 99 cents before Biden got in here. 99 cents. It tripled. Well, inflation's only been 34%. I'm sorry, but 34% of a dollar is $1.34. Okay? It ain't $3. Right? These people throw figures out and we're supposed to just accept what they're telling me. No. $3 for a loaf of bread is 3 times more expensive than it was when Trump was there. And all of us know that. I don't give a shit what statistic you throw out at me. I know it's cost me 3 times more. A gallon of milk was $1.99. Now it's $6.99. That's 3 times as much. Yeah. This is it for her. She should actually be campaigning, okay, for a cushy prison cell. Because her, like the rest of these people in power, including Republicans, are more aptly destined to be and would be more in tune with what they really deserve in life to see that they'd be put in jail. They'd be better there than they are in the positions, anywhere near positions of power. Yeah, he said he would do that last time, Alvaro. And I don't put my faith in any one person. The only way Trump can do what you're saying is if we, the people, stand up and start demanding it en masse and make that the only topics we talk about, ignoring all the left-wing propaganda, the right-wing propaganda, and we as a people start a movement to start getting things done on our own. That's what needs to be done here. This internet needs to be used by us as a tool. Consider the internet your nuclear weapon. And all you need is a few million of you. Right? And keep building numbers. And then tell Google, stop taking my personal information, bro. Stop following me around. Stop sending me ads targeted to what I might or might not want to buy. Leave me the fuck alone. We need to start fighting for corporate freedom. Americans don't even realize what freedom is. But freedom is freedom from government. That's what makes America different. That's the only difference we have over any nation on earth. Freedom from government. Government has rules. It's called the Constitution. No other country has that. Now we need freedom from corporation, a completely new revolution. because those corporations are working behind the scenes for the government that's violating the terms of their constitutional oath. And we know they're doing that. And the only way we can fix that isn't because we put Trump in office. The only way we can fix that is if we, the people, start to demand freedom from corporate control, freedom from corporate monitoring, freedom from corporate connections to our government. That's the only way that you can save this country at this point. And Trump himself can't do that. Only we can do that. This electoral map, regardless of what I'm saying about whether we do something or not, this is an unavoidable consequence. This is what the policies of the Biden administration led to. This is what a mirror image of what we experienced from 16 to 20 versus 20 to 24. When you look at those two images, they're not even black and white. It's insane, the differences in these two. It's way beyond black and white. And this is what will happen to Kamala Harris. She is going to get the floor mopped with her. The question and the key to this, folks, is that with that momentum and that enthusiasm of doing things together, can we at least decide to consider or start poking the ribs of all of these big multi-million followers, these big talking heads that are on the network news and they're all over Twitter and Google, and they're everywhere, YouTube. Can we all start prodding them with poking them with we want corporate freedom? We want corporate freedom. We want the same freedom from corporations that we have from government. And that's the message. That's what needs to be pumped. That's where our biggest issue is. We are not free from corporate control. We've surrendered it on the idea of getting something for free. Dumb motherfuckers. Well, I was doing so good before I insulted y'all, right? Yeah, Fathead Show. I was over there. Did you hear what I said? Or did you read what I said? I said, how could that 130-pound body hold up that big head? But folks, that's just the gist of the stream. These are the results that I think are inevitable. I don't think the Democrats have a chance. I don't think they have a chance in hell. And to be very honest with you, I say Minnesota leans towards her. Even California and New York, she's going to win these states. But even Minnesota may not go her way. I don't care that she picked that goofball. All of a sudden now, everybody in Minnesota knows he lied about his service. He lied about the treatment his wife got. It's incredible. It really is. So I don't think she can hold Minnesota. I really don't think. My personal opinion is that Minnesota is likely going to go to Donald J. Trump. He's going to win all the states he won before, and I think he's going to pick up a state. Like there's no way Ohio isn't safely Trump. And I'm claiming safe in Arizona, safe in Utah, safe in Nevada, Colorado, New Mexico, likely. Texas, there's no doubt Texas is a safe state for Trump. Oops, can't make it blue, even though I don't mind blue as a color. Indiana, or is it Iowa? Indiana, that's Iowa. How could that not be safe Trump? What's wrong with the guy that made this map? So any feedback, you guys, any feedback or anybody want to come up and offer their opinion? I can give you a link to the room. And yeah, there you go. Anybody wants to come up and either point out where I'm inaccurate, that you can show that the Hispanic and the especially the black woman voter isn't swinging towards Trump. Also, there's been interviews with a lot of independent and swing voters. How do you hold the media accountable for misleading the American people? Well, whether that's possible or not, that's really through going after the corporations that sponsor them. You may not be able to, to get you have free speech, so you run into issues of actually holding them accountable personally. But you can hold the billionaire accountable that owns the media, like Jeff Bezos. Stop shopping at Amazon. Imagine if 10, 20, 30, 100 million Americans said, we ain't buying from you, Amazon. These are the things you have to change about your company. Imagine if 10, 20 million people said that to the user agreement for Google. How about the apps that you get from your app store? And those people are all put on notice. If you're going to collect and you're going to store and you're going to share and you're going to sell and use my information, you're going to track me, you're going to watch what I brought, then we're not going to use your app. See, that's the catch-22. This is what Americans don't know. We have more power than they could ever dream of. We literally have way more power than any of the people that we consider problems. We have way more power than the government officials themselves. And yet for some reason we don't understand that. It's like elusive to us, as if we've become these complacent citizenry that accepts government as their ruler. And even though there's vestiges of that, in mass, we have the power to change everything for the better or for the worse, right? Which is what you've seen happening to us. And it's changed to the worst because we haven't organized ourselves to push back. And I don't mean organize ourselves into a gang or a militia or anything like that. Into a group of Americans that have certain things that they insist be part of the fucking the roots of America in the new electronic age. We need to put our foot down. We need to demand laws are passed limiting corporate's ability to our information. That's what we need. We don't need anything but that. That'll go a long way in stopping identity theft, stopping all kinds of nonsense. Public information about me is public information about me. But you having access to my phone and my movements and my searches and my bullshit, man. Bullshit. And that and folks would change America in ways that would be amazing. And it would set a precedent by the people themselves to show the people themselves that they do have the power of persuasion of the purse. That you have that in ways that you can't even imagine. You know, the best part about that is it doesn't matter what color you are. It doesn't matter who you sleep with. It doesn't matter where you were born. If you're here as an American, you're an American. And all of that would help all of us equally. You don't even have to agree with the people. People that you disagree with wouldn't object to protecting their own identities and personal information from the corporatism that it's become. Nobody with half a brain cell would argue against that. And that in and of itself would change the entire landscape of the globe, especially as it originates from America. What did Carl say? Did he say something rude? Oh, probably not. He usually saves that shit for me. See, that's what I mean, Heather. That's why I try pointing out to people. You've been programmed to make that comment yet. And that's how you have to see what you just thought. You have to snap out of that thinking. I don't see a way to reel that monster back in. At this point, they have the data on it. They do, but they could be forced to fucking delete it. They could be forced to delete it and get rid of it. That's what I'm saying. All it takes is millions of voices demanding it. And if they don't comply, then you just go somewhere else. And the place you're going, you've got multiple different avenues to go there. As a matter of fact, with that multiple areas of choice to watch online videos, you can go to Rumble, you can go, I don't know, there's got to be other places, right? There's no doubt there isn't. And you can approach them and say, we'll switch all these viewers over to you, but you, sir, have to get rid of your user agreement. So the power of the purse is just immense. Yet we're never really organized to do that. And the proof that the power of the purse is immense is look how much money the government of yours has already spent to keep themselves in power. Well, we're at 34 trillion and counting. Let's not con anyone. That money was spent to keep these people in power, not you and me. Let's be honest. And how did they do it? They did what they did by using our own money against us. Now I'm saying, you want to win that battle, you show them how to put our money against that. There you go. You can't spend enough money to go buy cornflakes if that company doesn't comply. And as an example, and if that company is part of the problem, you can't save Facebook or Twitter if we decide not to go there anymore because of their user agreement. There's nothing the government can do to save them, folks. Try as you might. We'll make some other company stronger than them. And that's the process under which we can change the world. I find it rather sad. So many smart people always have these actually what would appear to be well thought out, reasonable observations, which is what you gave here, Heather. That's a well thought out, reasonable observation, but the context of your thinking is programmed inaccurately. There's never a way not to get a monster off your back. I played that video of why we have a national anthem, how patriots held the flag up while they were being bombarded by British ships with cannons. And yet when the flag hit the ground, an American walked over and held the flag up until he was killed. And another took his place. So that's what I mean. Don't ever consider that as Americans, that if we can create a movement of doing what's best for us in line with or in spite of whoever the political leaders of the day are. And that includes Trump or anybody. Yeah, some people you want to elect that probably will help us in some ways. But the biggest issues, nobody's going to give us any help when you look at politicians unless we, the people, are doing something actively to demand that help, right? And this is exactly a great example of that is the Black community, okay? And all of them now saying they're going to go and vote for Trump. I see very few of them. And the ones that are saying they support Trump, unfortunately, it's because Kamala is a Black woman. That's it. So the people that do support Kamala Harris are actually the intellectually laziest of us all, right? Everything we do is used against us in a way to manipulate us and get more money out of us. And what I'm saying is we can change that. We have to break the mindset that we just have to be victims. We're not victims. We are the government of the United States. We, the people, not the guy you're going to elect, not the guy that's been elected, not any of the people in Congress or not your governor, not your mayor, not your school board president. Those are not the people that run this country. We do. But for some reason, we've allowed ourselves and we've let them run it and they've ran it into the ground. And it's long overdue that we all get together, regardless of any issues that we could disagree on. There are certain issues like freedom from corporatization, okay, that we can all agree on, regardless of who the fuck you like or don't like. It's such an obvious observation with the points that I'm making. I'm no smarter than anybody else, even though I come in here and say I'm smarter than all of you. That's just bravado and just being a dick, which, I don't mind being a dick. Sometimes I think being a dick is better than not being a dick. You know the truth. Let's see here. What do we got? As far as 14, see, viewership is sliding, but we'll bring it back. I'm really surprised that didn't kick off on Twitter. I think it will. The title, VP Harris path to indictment more likely than the Oval Office. And I believe that, folks, in many ways, because not believe it, I think that based on the just the amount of people's opinions that have changed and the amount of people that are like, fuck this, man. Everything is used against us. I realize all of that. That look at that's again, that's fixable. It's literally fixable. All of these, these issues that are personal to us are not. Much grander issues that are actually pertinent to us. Like, I want to know why we got to pay interest on a debt from money we borrow from ourselves. I just want an answer to that question. I don't know how many people in America know that, but you don't owe China $34 trillion. You might owe China $1 trillion. We don't borrow money from China like they kept telling you. China buys treasury bonds. Japan buys them. England buys them. Germany buys them. Russia buys them. Treasury bonds are a loan of a sort. But just be aware that Japan and China are always running neck and neck at around $1 trillion each of purchasing our treasury bonds. It's kind of like you can invest in a municipal bond and you go and buy a bond and you hold it for so long and you get a guaranteed interest rate of return. So using simple numbers, we'll use 5% and $100, right? So if you hold it for a year, you get 5% interest. You get your $105. You made $5. That's what the debt to China and Japan is, folks. It's got nothing to fucking do with borrowing money. You think we call them up on the phone and they write us a check and mail it to us? Come on, man. We borrow that money from ourselves. Go look at the pie graph on who you owe that money to. And so I want that answered, that question answered. Why are we paying interest on loans that we gave ourselves? I mean, it's like taking money from the right pocket, putting it in the left, and telling the left pocket you got to give the right pocket more back, right? So I took $10 out of my right pocket, put it in my left pocket, and I'm telling my left pocket, you got to give me back $12, $14 on what? And that's really how ridiculous our debt is, folks. And I'd like to see that addressed by Trump or somebody. That question that fuck paying ourselves interest. We just need to pay the debt down. And we shouldn't be paying $800-900 billion a year in interest because, you know, just so you know, folks, that $800-900 billion a year interest is going to corporate banks, not into your treasury. That's a real catch-22 with it. If you looked at our financial system, there's some very eye-opening and very mind-boggling shit that your eyes would open up to. And it's like, it's not as complex as the idea, like how many people thought, how do we borrow money from China? Do we call them up? Do we apply for a loan? How do we do that? We don't. Right? Think it through. But these politicians have been lying to you, misleading you, using that as a weapon against you. Trump has got some ideas to straighten out and make sure that our currency remains the world reserve, which is probably the most important thing for the success of this country. That the American dollar, that piece of paper that everybody wants to replace with gold, and then thereby wiping out the fucking the American currency as the reserve currency of the world, and thereby destroying the country. Fucking idiots. Oh yeah. So the sale of treasuries, that's what it is, AG. Everything revolves around the credit score. And there's nothing wrong with things revolving around the credit score. There's nothing wrong with borrowing money from a bank to buy a car. There's nothing wrong with doing any of that. The American way allows for you to enjoy a convenience or a necessity before you actually have the capacity to pay for it. And there's nothing wrong with that. Of course, many people use it or aren't educated in the use of it, which I think is one of the biggest things lacking in your school. I have zero credit debt, folks. Zero. I refuse to have credit debt. I run a business where I can have a 30, 60, 90-day payment agreement on the materials that I use for my business, on the inventory that I order in. And I won't even use that. I can. The Small Business Administration could loan me $500,000 easily, probably more. And I could use them, but I won't. No, I don't. I understand credit and its dangers. And one of the things too that could happen is an unexpected life event could come up. And I don't want any unexpected event in my life to fuck with your life. That's the best I can do for my fellow man. Not make my problems somebody else's. Right? And so that's why I've always been responsible with credit. But these courses need to be taught to our children. The society, they should have classes in school. The nature and the basis and the way our society functions and why. Rather than talking about and confusing kids at 8 years old, you could be any gender you want. Fucking pick one. Here's a list of 65. You fucking twits. Not you guys. I'm saying that the way the system's run now. I agree. The Federal Department of Education needs to be eradicated. The curriculum in school needs to be determined by the parents in that area. The education you're going to give some kid in Wyoming is going to be different than the education you give a kid in New York City. They live in two different environments, two different sets of circumstances. So it should always be a local education. And we all know these things. I mean, I'm preaching to the choir, but I'm saying we as people can actually get these things moving. If we simply work together in numbers, in mass, not 100 of us or 200 of us, although that's a start, but in mass, it's got to grow and grow and grow. It says, if you don't have credit, you don't have, yeah, I've got an extremely good credit score. But I don't let anything sit. My score, I think, would probably, it's up, there's not much more I got to go for perfect. And I think the only way to get there is to take on credit debt and pay it over a long period of time. That's the one thing that I don't do. Like, I can't even tell you how long it's been that I've paid any interest on anything. I can't even tell you how long it's been that long. There is never a charge made that isn't paid off that very month. And anybody can do that because sometimes we have to lower our fucking desires. Our desires may not be able to meet our means. And so as you move through life, especially when you're young and you're coming up, that's where you need the most discipline to live at or below your means. And then better yourself as an earner. And with that habit, continue forward. And then you find yourself sitting on easy street, right? You got 5, 8, 10 years of fucking income. If you lost your job or walked out because of whatever, you wouldn't be starving or begging for another job. You could actually tough it out. And we're all, we're not all capable of doing that, but for those of us that are, more of us need to be doing it. It's that simple. Yeah, it is. So, I said anybody could come up. We're getting close to the end of the stream. Carl should click on that link and bring his ass up here. Or is he going to be, without using the word, is he just going to be catty about it? Don't be a pussy, Carl. Yikes. Let's see here. Carl, do you know what the hardest part about eating a vegetable is? Or anybody, do you know what the hardest part about eating a vegetable is? Huh. Nobody knows? It's a simple answer. Do you know what the easiest way to or the hardest part about eating a vegetable is, Carl? It's getting her back in her wheelchair. It's just nasty, right? You think I may have another one? No. Nope. Oh. Here's one. Does anybody know what a reverse exorcism is? Carl says, I didn't see that one coming. Does anybody know what a reverse exorcism is? Any guess? Reverse exorcism. Exorcism. This one's gonna fuck everybody up. It's fucking brutal. Does anybody have any clue what a reverse exorcism is? All right. Well, Carl, how about you say, Carl? It's something that you won't see coming, but you're going to hear it anyway, folks. A reverse exorcism is when the demon tells the priest to get out of the child. Oh my God. Need I say that again? Should I repeat myself in case people out in the electronic, whatever this is, reality? A reversed exorcism is a demon telling the priest to get out of the child. That's just crazy. Betty being pushed back in at a birth canal? No. I don't know if you could ever get Betty back in there. What about her poor mother? I mean, you can't blame all that on the mom, to be honest with you. I mean, we are a product of where we came from. See, now Carl laughed. Look at that. You get Carl to laugh, the joke is fine. I don't know who thinks of things like that to say, but I hear them and then I willingly repeat them because, I think they're entertaining. Hey, we got 12 minutes left. Anybody in here disagree with what I showed you on that election map? I'd be actually eager to see if people disagree with what I'm showing. Well, we can get out of there. We can get rid of that. Let's see here. We can get rid of that. And I always laugh when I probably shouldn't. All right. With no co-host, I run out of conversation, folks. What else can I tell you? Yeah, your ass hurts news network. How about them apartment building takeovers by a Venezuelan gang, folks? Woo, yay! Someone needs to call out the National Guard and go in there like nobody's. Call out the 101st Airborne and just parachute these guys in black clothing with night vision. Right? No, I'm not being optimistic. Just so you know, Heidi, there's no optimism in what I showed about the election. Though that's a predictive result that I'm sharing with you because there's very few, if any, people that watch politics that are paying attention to the woman black voter. Especially if you're a white creator, you're just not doing it. You're not listening to the black community, the Hispanic community, the inner city community. You're not listening to that aisle. And that's why I'm telling you, if you were to listen to people from those communities, you would see a change in their outlook on who they're going to vote for that blows your fucking mind. It's crazy. Because it's like, no. Everybody says the blacks are going to vote for and they don't. And that's been true. But this election cycle, MSNBC, CNN, interviewing independents. And there was a panel of independents, 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats, and 2 independents. And the Republicans and the independents are going to vote Trump. The 2 Democratic women are going to vote Kamala because she's a black woman. Okay. But out of 6 likely voters, 4 of them went for Trump. 3 of them were black. Come on. You go to any inner city area and start asking these people if they want to vote for Kamala Harris, and they are just not with it, man. Yeah. Don't let any of this. They're going to keep telling you he's down in points, he's down in points, he's down in points. On election night, they're going to throw up their arms and say, this is shaping up to be a landslide. Nobody saw this. Watch. I in the 2016 election too, I watched all of these different areas and I watched all of these different towns and counties. And I wasn't surprised that Trump won, that he won in the states that he won. And I'm telling you that through this cycle of election, he's going to win states that nobody could possibly even dream are winnable. That's what's going to shock people. And states that she does win aren't going to be by any margin that Democrats have enjoyed. They've always enjoyed high double-digit numbers in New York. They're not going to get it this time. They may get double digits, but it'll be low teens at best. Not the 30 or 40 points that they've always been enjoying. They're taking a beating from the inner city communities. And that's the election, folks. Especially, and here's the thing that people aren't going to, that you may not realize, but I'm going to say it in plain English. The only reason a dark blue state is dark blue is because of the inner city vote, because of the black vote. That's the only reason a dark blue state is a dark blue state. Get that through your head. You need to know that to be a fact. Black Americans know that. They know that. They're not clueless. They know that. So does the Democratic Party. And if you lose 30+%, I suggest he's going to gain probably between 30 and 40% of the black vote. First time since Abraham Lincoln, although they couldn't vote back then. Watch. And the Democrats can't sustain that kind of an exodus of their voters. Their entire party depends upon the black vote. Black people realize that trying to give illegals the right to vote is eliminating their voice. They're being replaced. They see it. They're not stupid, man. Right? They're trapped in an environment. I mean, Jesus, even my city was full of corporations within walking distance of most of the inner city homes. And every single immigrant that came to this country started in the inner cities, in the same areas, in the same places, in the same streets, with the same fucking names, in the same houses as the working poor and the black poor that are working in the inner cities. The difference is today's working poor in the inner cities can go to Taco fucking Bell for a job. Okay? Not some big name Detroit automaker. That's why they want $20 an hour. You can't fucking blame them. There's no bus line that runs them out to a technology firm to get trained and employed. There's no fucking way to get from where they are to some place that offers a decent job, or the training in the schools that they need to do that. It's gone. You could come here and not speak English and go get a job in a fucking factory. That's gone. All of those locations have been moved out of the inner city by the Democratic people that run those dark blue cities and states. And this is the reality we live in, and they're sick and fucking tired of it. You'd want 15, 20 bucks an hour for French frying too. Imagine that. Now, imagine why you don't want to. Why don't you want to stay with your mama or your mom that you made a baby with? Because you can't get a job close enough by to maintain a family of 2, 3, or 4. Of course, government assistance is going to be your only option. It's not like they're picking it because they're fucking lazy. Yeah, and this goes for all poor, including me. I was poor too, a drug dealer, a criminal, a thief. I lived that life. I fucking survived and got out of it and grew out of it. Right? Because opportunity presented itself and I grabbed a hold of the opportunity and went with it. But opportunity isn't something that should only fucking befall you. Opportunity should be present at your fucking front door every day of your fucking life. That's what America's about. You should be able to open up your front door and decide if you want to work for this company or that company. It no longer exists in our inner city, folks. Those areas have been depressed intentionally by the political party that the poor victims in those cities have been voting for. They keep promising they're going to fix them. Well, they're awake now, those people in those communities, and they can see. And they're not having it. And they're not awake because of the internet. They're not awake because of some fucking buddy told them to be awake. They're awake because of the reality of what they've just experienced over the last 8 years. Right? Go beyond that. The 8 years of Obama. Then Trump got involved. The 4 years of Biden, just as bad or worse than the Obama 8. What stands out? Well, we voted for a black guy and everything got fucked up. Trump came in, fixed it all, and gave us cheap gas, and everything else was inexpensive. And then he gets voted out, and we voted for Biden. We voted for Biden. And look what Biden did. He made the economy worse than when it was under Obama. So what stands out in the minds of these people in these inner areas? Well, the only place that the only time that things really worked was when Trump won, even though we didn't vote for him. Well, this time we're going to vote for his ass. That's what you're going to see happen in this election. And it's an unstoppable wave. An unstoppable wave. And I hope Trump sees it. I'm sure he may, or I'm hoping he may. I'm not sure of anything on him, but I'm hoping that him and his advisors go and do the research I've been doing. Go and listen to the clips. Go see the interviews. Random people on the street. Go listen to the black streamers that are doing the same thing. And see the answers you're getting from people. It's a staggering amount of number. It's absolutely amazing. Yeah. All right, folks. So we're there at 9:57. I actually talked. Well, I talk most of the time anyway. It's just, he's just not here. Although, what are you going to do? He could have came into the chat room or something, the prick. What did misinformation say? They weaponize the foster care system. Yeah, they do. The government is doing everything that they're not supposed to do, and we all can agree with that. Yet none of us try to form a group or try to get in touch with those that can. Somebody with influence, somebody with some knowledge and a following to just start leading the herd down the idea that we, the people, can come together with an idea that can help us all, and we can all stick to that idea and demand a result for that idea. That's all it takes, folks. You have an infinite ability to communicate nowadays, and yet we're wasting it. We're listening to these idiots talk about all kinds of different things that have no real value to change our life. And we're in election season, so what better time than for me to say the things I've been saying? This is the time people are looking for some change. But the real change needs to come from each and every one of us to work together, to come together, and put our demands out for the world to hear. And then act on those demands if they're not followed. And we want freedom from corporate intrusion. We want a corporate Independence Day. That's what we want. We've got the Independence Day to free us from government. If we can free ourselves from the control of corporations, your government's going to get in line with you, not them, with you. That's the other unknown secret that comes from doing something like that. And it's not hope and change. It's actually action that produces hope that will result in change. Absolutely a little bit different what I'm pointing out here, Carl. And I don't know how many IQ points you lost, but it's starting to look like you didn't have a lot you could afford to lose. Carl be broke on the IQ points. That wallet almost empty. What say you, Carl? No, we don't need to return to that. We don't need to return to anything. We can have what we have is the best opportunities now, the best technology, the best mode of movement, the best mode of everything is there here now. I know you were quoting Obama, and that's why I said. That's why I said. What did Heidi have to go through? What happened to you, Heidi? Heidi, misinformation. I'm so thankful that I'm not in foster care. Oh, well, congratulations for making it through and getting yourself out here. the manufacturing powerhouse of the world. Yeah. All right, folks. Well, thanks for coming in. It's 10 o'clocker, and it's the end of your Asserts News Network. Your host, Sergeant Friday, talking to you from Beijing at the top of Cock Towers with the well-known, world-renowned, actually, Lick of My Balls Convention Center. Reserve it for your next special event and or wedding occasion. Lick of My Balls Convention Center, Beijing. You all have a good night, good weekend, long weekend, and try not to do any labor. This is a Labor Day weekend, so make it laborless, and we'll see you after the holiday.